Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to our second area forum for Hanworth, the two Hanworth villages, Hanworth Village and Hanworth Park. As you see, we've moved this one more central to the other one, and we will be, possibly the next one we'll be having at Butts Farm. So we're trying to cover the full area. It spreads out the Hanworth ward. But for this one, it's quite central, and I think that we've got a good crowd present. So I welcome you all. I hope you've had the opportunity, for those that came earlier, to visit the market stalls, and there's some refreshments that were there. And we'd also be asking your feedback at the end of the meeting. If you find you'll find the feedback form on the tables for your complete. So it would be nice if you could give us some feedback on how you think we're arranging it, and whether we're doing it right or whether we're doing it wrong. We'll listen to both. Right, if I move on to apologies for absence, I think I've got an apology from Councillor Noreen Kaleem. Any other apologies? No? No? I don't have any declarations of interest. You're not being paid by anybody, are you, Bish? Right. So you've had the minutes. I think this is this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is the minutes, yeah. These are, yeah. No. Right, the minutes of the last meeting were circulated. I don't know if you all had sight of them. No? There are some around, I think. Are there copies of the minutes around for the audience? No? It's on. I'm told that it's online. Right, we'll try and get more hard copies next time for those that can't access online. Right, so I'm going to ask for those that have got a copy if they can look at accuracy of the minutes for the last meeting. Is anybody moving that? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. So we had no notice of any corrections.
In point 3 minutes of the meeting in last time, there is a paragraph 2.1 of page 10, item number 7, paragraph 2.
Where are you? I don't know what paper.
Yeah, it's item 3. There is a correction.
Oh, a correction. Yeah, that's what I was just reading, yeah. Yeah, so there's a correction of paragraph 2.1 of the last report dated the 13th of April, evaluating the proposal identifies a development site as including the area of parkland to the west of Hanworth Park House, an area which is currently accessible by the public. So that, I know what that means, but I'm not sure quite whether that explains it that well.
That's a correction to the paragraph on page 10. Item 7, paragraph 2 on page 10, where it said that for Hanworth Park Restoration Project, the response was provided by the chair of the Hanworth Park Restoration Project to confirm that no parkland would be lost to the restoration. We've since had a correction from a member of the public that states that in paragraph 2.1, oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
And I thought I was getting deaf.
Right. So the correction is to item 7, paragraph 2, on page 10 of the minute, on page 10 of the agenda, in the minutes, where it says that for the Hanworth Park Restoration Project, a response was provided by the chair of the Hanworth Park House Restoration Project and confirmed that no parkland would be lost to the restoration. We've since had a correction from a member of the public, Mr. Butterworth, who has said that in paragraph 2.1 of the LBHC report dated 13th of April 2023, evaluating the proposal, identifies the development site as including the area of parkland to the west of Hanworth Park House, an area which is currently accessible by the public. So some loss of parkland, it would appear, maybe within the project.
Yeah, I think if my memory serves me right, this is an area which is currently public land,
Yeah.
but when they're doing the Hanworth Park House changes, that there is a swap between land between Hounslow. So Hounslow's got the equivalent, which is more appropriate for their development, and Hanworth Park House has got this section, which is
So it's possible that no parkland has been lost to the development?
No, the overall situation is the parkland. There's no loss to parkland. It's just more accessible. It's not going to be blocked off. If it was left as it was, then it would have been blocked off.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So move on to.
One more correction.
Yeah, you've got one more correction.
Yeah. I think on the same, that's page 10.
Of what? The minute.
Yeah,
the minutes.
yeah, minute on the item number 7. When you go down to spelling correction, that one is, when you go to the last paragraph, it said that excessive speeding on
Which paper? I don't know what paper you're on. Oh, this paper.
Yeah,
All right. Okay.
it's supposed to be Feltham.
Feltham.
Yes, yeah. It's-
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Thank
not
you.
Felton.
Yeah, Feltham Brookway. Okay.
That's just that's a printer. That's a printo.
Thank you.
Right. So for communities update, I'm going to invite the officers to present an update. Yes. It's you, is it, editor?
Good evening, everyone. We just came to you this time with a short presentation about what we've done over the last couple of months since the last time we've seen each other in July. So this time was quite busy in terms of looking into what was happening in the High Street, in Feltham High Street. And I know that this is not exactly our area here. However, we had comments and complaints and concerns from the residents from across the west part of the borough about the issues that were happening in High Street, also impacting them, because obviously people are using those areas, using the High Street, using the shops. As well, the children are going to schools, coming back. So this is the area that we've been the most concerned, and we've worked with partners on looking into what can we do and how can we partnership. So if you remember from last time, we have the area-based approach, which means that we're looking at specific areas, what's happening, which partners are our key partners in each area, and we're trying to work together. This time I can say that there was like 3 key elements that we have been looking into when trying to work on those issues. Obviously we have the police forces. Police was the key partner, and they've done a fantastic job in liaising with everybody, in being present on the High Street. There were extra resources which were mobilized every month, and I know that our sergeant is still committed to making sure that we have those extra resources on the High Street. The second very important part of this work was engagement with residents. So we've been looking into going to businesses, liaising with housing associations and private landlords to make sure that we know what everybody's experiencing, how can they contribute, and how can we support them. This is also ongoing work because we're trying to make sure that those links are bigger. And the last one is approaching individuals. Approaching individuals can be in different ways. We are running violence reduction funded project with Perfectly Imperfect, which we have the members of the team here, and they're doing a bit of outreach among the young people and children who are visiting Feltham High Street. So they're coming, they're trying to work with them, provide them some guidance in terms of what can they do, how can they spend their free time. We also have the adolescent services, which supplied extra outreach workers who are working again with a lot of youth groups in the evening, specifically on the High Street and around in different parts of the borough, but we mostly were focused on this area over the last 3 months. And we also have, like you might remember from last time when we were here, we've mentioned we have the Young Adult Engagement Service for 18 to 25-year-olds. And this is something, this is referral based, so there is information online, but if anybody would like to know anything more about it, or had any concerns about people in your life who are 18 to 25 and you think that they might need a bit of help, please reach out, and we might be able to give some help with those. That was our main focus in terms of our areas here on Hanworth Village and Hanworth Park. We're looking at several parks that are probably going to get regenerated, like Ludlow open spaces, Hanworth Park. So if anybody would like to, so that was something that we've been trying to touch on as well among our different works, and we've been talking to our councillors as well. So if there is something that that you feel, any open spaces that you are visiting often that need any extra help, or maybe some more work from our side, then please let us know. And just to touch on the last couple of area forums we had some feedback that we want to follow up on, and people were asking us actually if we can kind of like give an overview of cases that we are dealing with, the real things, because usually when we talk about strategic work or work with a lot of partners, it's all very much stretched in time, because it is about having those results and changing the areas bit by bit. But I just wanted to give brief examples of the cases that we are dealing with on a daily basis that we could have some successes in. I'll divide it into individual cases, which were in last few months. We had 2 cases very similar to each other, when the ladies from different type of housing approached us, and they were the subjects of targeted antisocial behavior of various reasons, and they needed to relocate, and as much as they were approaching certain services. But what we were able to do, we were able to get a lot of right people in the right moment to get involved in those cases. Whenever the statements supporting those moves were needed, we were able to reach officers, and both of them successfully moved to other places with their families. The other type of cases that we are looking into are estates, and this is coordinating the multidisciplinary approach. I can give an example of a estate which was owned by housing associations with other providers nearby. And it's unfortunate, because of the setup of the estate, there are spaces that are likely to get used by people hanging around and causing minor antisocial behavior. The first time we got notified about this case, we were able to, again, get the housing associations, who was a freeholder of the site, together with the local police, even with our neighborhood wardens, to get together and look at how do we connect the services to make sure that we are approaching those individuals or their parents, their guardians, to make sure that we can reach them, we can reach out to them and either offer them support, or if it's needed, enforce against them. This went very well. However, a few months afterwards, we had different groups of individuals again popping out and showing at this estate. And this was even better work in terms of the individuals were linked to the completely other side of the west of the borough. And we then worked with the police from that particular ward, as well as the police, the responsible, the Safer Neighborhood team from the area that the perpetrators lived, and their schools and housing providers. So we were in the middle of the situation. We were trying to make sure that everybody is connected, and we then could avoid the time that would be wasted if everybody started looking for each other and not being able to organize all those services together. So that's just in a nutshell of what we do. You can always get in touch with us. All our details are on the board in terms of the 18 to 25-year-olds service, or what we're doing as a Safer Communities Coordinator in this part of the borough. Again, like we've mentioned many times, that what we want to do, we want to make sure that we can co-design the initiatives with our residents and then try to deliver them together. Thank you.
I'm going to open up to the audience for questions for Editor. She's used to doing it questions, so she'll be all right. So does anybody wishes to ask any questions? I can see, no, it's not a hand, it's somebody taking a photograph. Anybody wish to ask any questions of Editor and her reports? All right. I'm sure that doesn't mean that they're thoroughly...
No, I just hope that
feel
everybody
safe.
will take the details and will get in touch with us
Yeah.
maybe later.
Yeah. Okay, thanks very much, Editor. Right, we now move to the open forum. So we're looking, if there are any questions, I'll take the gentleman in the white jumper first. Thank you. It's microphone coming to you.
It's regarding the e-bike parking bays on the Tudor estate. Both our ward count... Tudor estate.
Tudor estate, right, because there's quite a few of them.
No, there isn't.
Of the parking bays, there are.
Well, what I'd like to ask is the council's own definition of where an e-bike parking bay should go bears no relation to the proposal to put one in Queen's Avenue on the Tudor estate, which never happened. It was then moved to the end of Queen's Way on the Tudor estate, 4.6 metres from a T-junction. With a great deal of pressure from our Residents Association, and thank you to our two councillors, that was then cancelled. 2 of the 3 long white warning lines in the middle of the road were painted out black. With the help of our local SNT police unit, they sent me chapter and verse from the Highway Code, and within 2 days the white lines were put back in again. What a waste of council money. Now they want to put the e-bike parking bay in Elizabeth Way, which is part of a conservation area. And I would like to know what the legality is for putting it on a conservation area or in a conservation area, and again, why there is no problem with e-bikes on our estate. We've already suggested numerous times either put the e-bike parking bay at the base of the pedestrian bridge over the A316 at the junction of Castle Way and Sunbury Way, or put it on the huge area of pavement outside the Baitul Wahid Mosque, which is part of a cycle track, and the main access across the roundabout at Muller Dairy. My second question, which I've emailed both these questions in, is regarding the destruction of council property at the bottom end of the garden of 23 Queen's Way, where several mature laurel bushes that are part of the street scene of Elizabeth Way and have been for decades have been torn out by the owner of 23 Queen's Way, and the grassed area is trampled to the extent that there is no grass now. I'm being pushed from pillar to post all the time, and I'm now told it's Hounslow Highways who need to deal with this. Somebody needs to deal with this. I've been raising the subject with our two councillors for the past 2 years, and I have an email going back to 2018 stating that these laurel bushes have been destroyed. These laurel bushes have been destroyed, and they are part of the street scene of Elizabeth Way and have been ever since the estate was built. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Okay,
Here
Councillor, to
is
respond.
Jefferson from the e-bike, and he will update you. Jefferson, it's up to you.
Hello, can you hear me? Right. Thanks very much for your question, sir. Okay, happy to come down the front. It might be safe. Thank you for your question, sir, and thank you for the feedback as well. I think you can rest assured where our contractors haven't done the right job or they've made a mistake, they don't get paid twice. So rest assured that we're not wasting council money, but I appreciate the frustration that may have caused you, and that's noted. In relation to the location of the e-bike in the conservation area, we have a conservation officer, and they generally make sure that we locate e-bikes in the right place. We also have a responsibility not only to maintain the highway, but also to make sure that the look and feel of an area is not disrupted or changed as a result of our work. There is no conflict, there is no issue with placing an e-bike in the conservation area, in the same way that there is no contradiction in having vehicles or bicycles going through a conservation area. So,
it says a conservation area is an area of special architectural or historic interest, the character or appearance of which it is desirable to preserve or enhance. An e-bike parking bay does neither. Thank you.
The arbiter, and we have had this question, as you can imagine, from other parts of the borough that are also conservation areas. The arbiter of whether or not we are in conformance with the requirements of a conservation area is the council's conservation officer. If in doubt, we ask them. And in previous cases where people have challenged the location of be that e-bike parking bays or bike hangers, which people tend to be very opposed to, in all those cases, their advice has always been that there is no contradiction with having a bike parking bay or a bike hanger with maintaining the needs or requirements of a conservation area.
My argument is that Elizabeth Way is a cul-de-sac. It's a feeder cul-de-sac road for two other cul-de-sacs, Moatside and Seymour Gardens. So there is constant traffic coming in and out because it's three cul-de-sacs. It's not a through road. And there is also issues at the moment with a gentleman who parks two large vans almost on the corner of Elizabeth Way and has two or three other vehicles that if the e-bike parking bay is put in, these will be moved some 30 to 35 metres further up Elizabeth Way and causing even more problems. Thank you.
Can I just say this? I think this is not really an issue that we can make decisions here, and that you'll need to take that up with the officers. Well, I'm sorry, I can't answer for Catherine Dunn. I don't know. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm not going to get into an argument about this. I'm just saying, no, you've had your say, but it's not really an issue that we can decide here. That's what I'm saying to you. You may. I'm sorry, I can't force somebody from here to take responsibility. You've made your point. The officer responsible is sitting here. So he's listened to what you said and he's responded in due on it. So both of you got an opinion which has been stated. Now that's what we need to do here, but we can't go on, we can't make a decision here from that point of view. Yes, my dear.
I'd just like to add that over the last few months, the green bikes have been left arbitrarily near the mosque, 2 of them, and another one on the cycle lane under the A316. So obviously the people that are using them are leaving them in that area.
I don't disagree with you. I have one at the end of my road where there's more bikes parked outside the square than are parked inside it. I'm not happy with it, and I'll be making my points known to the officers that are responsible for that. I don't know how we control it, but I'm not happy with the way in which bikes are parked in these spaces. They're not, they're dumped. And that's something that we've really got to watch. They're all over the place, and as I say, I've got one at the end of my road, so you're not but it's something that we need to look at, because they do need a place to go, but it does need people who use the bikes, use them responsibly, and unfortunately it doesn't look like that's the case all the time.
Thank you very much for your question. I think that's a very fair point. We are also frustrated by the nuisance caused by the abandoned bikes. What I would say, though, is compliance. When we set up the contract for these bikes, one of the requirements one of our expectations was that compliance in parking has to be somewhere around 90%. We are actually exceeding that, so we are going beyond 90% in terms of compliance, which is very good. However, there's an issue with hacking, so the bikes get hacked. So many of the bikes you see dumped in very strange places are basically hacked bikes. The users haven't paid for their trips, so therefore they have nothing to lose. They use it for fun and they dump it wherever they like. Lime have been made aware of this issue. They are actively looking to put in place a solution. So far, they have put in place a hardware fix which should prevent it from being hacked so easily. So far, they've gone about 50% of their fleet across London now has this fix. So it's very, very difficult now to hack. Previously, or currently, some of those bikes that don't have that fix, they're very easily hacked. School kids have been having fun with it all summer, unfortunately. But we expect by the time the hack fix is put in place across all the bikes, across the entire fleet, we expect hacking to be significantly reduced. I wouldn't say entirely eradicated, but significantly reduced. We are aiming for that to happen by the end of October. So I would say please bear with us. We share your pain. We are very frustrated by it. It causes significant road safety issues for us as well as an authority, and also causes a degree of reputational harm to Lime bikes. The last thing they want is for their bikes to be abandoned in very strange places and seen as a nuisance. So I would say bear with us. Hopefully by the end of October, we should have the hardware fixes applied to all the bikes in their fleet, and therefore hacking will become much more difficult.
Right, thank you. Right, I'm going to move on now. Any other?
There is a second question.
Yeah, I know, I'm just about to ask for any more questions. Yes, the lady there.
Is it possible to have some more 117 buses on the route?
117 buses, that's London Transport. I'm not sure we've got much authority over them.
Well, they turned round and said it's down to your local council.
I said what?
They said it's down to your local council.
Well, we can't control bus services.
Because the 235 bus goes every 3 minutes. The one that goes to Staines...
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. There's people sitting in front of you are talking.
Yeah, the one that goes to Staines is every 20 minutes and it's full all the time. So, of course, you're leaving people standing all the time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, so as the councillor noted, the council doesn't control buses. Well, we can certainly make the request of TfL. Ultimately, TfL decide, and they have data to identify where there's a need for additional buses, where the demand is high, where they don't have sufficient buses. So they have all that information, and they do reviews of all their routes from time to time. But we can certainly raise it with them, but it's not a matter over which the council can control. We can ask the question, but it's ultimately a decision for TfL.
Well, I've been working with them for the last few months, and they said, yeah, it's down to your local council, keep getting other people to complain. So... That's not accurate, but we can certainly raise the question with TfL.
Any other questions? Is there someone here?
Sorry. I was going to say about the e-bikes again. I walk my dog on the same route every single day, and there's 3 parking bays, one in Lebanon Avenue, one in McCarthy Road, and one in Bear Road, and I've never ever seen a bike in them. Never. And I walk my dog the same route every single day.
I share your view, as it happens, but I think that we need to. I'm sure we will review what's going on. It's a little bit of a sort of try it and see what happens thing with these bikes, because nobody could predict what the usage would be. As I say, I think that there's space for 6 bikes in the one down my road. There's usually 2. One's in the square and the other one's on the pavement. What, in Stoughton Avenue, at the bottom end? Well, they're both inside this time, are they? Well, that's both outside. Yeah, that's probably for a norm. Yeah.
I can pick up that point, Chair.
Yeah. Other questions? Yep.
Oh, hello. I live on the corner of Green Lane on a tight bend, and I'm sure you must be aware a year ago the fatality there and the absolute mayhem. The whole road closed, the area as a crime scene. We had to get through the cordon to get to our own houses.
Oh, sorry, could you say where?
The corner of Green Lane in August last year. 2 women walking dogs were struck by a car, went up on the pavement. They were, right, I can't really go into too many details because there's so many rumours going around. And my wife saw our neighbour shoot out as his car went by. She saw these 2 ladies up on the fence. She had to help get them off, and by the time I came around and saw it, in the end, the elderly lady who survived was the younger woman, who was, I say younger, 74, was struck from behind, hit the elder lady, and she was lay there for, it was amazing. You must know that. It's absolute mayhem. The whole road was closed off. And now we've said to the MP, our local MP, Senior, I think it is, about speed bumps there or something. We got a reply in July saying about they've got speed bumps there, things. Now, I know you got a 20 mile an hour speed limit, but that is absolute mockery, because how can you possibly enforce it? I cycle regularly down that road. I'm going about 16 miles an hour, therefore cars should be passing me at a medium walking pace. They don't, they all fly by. I can see from that corner when I'm in my house, cars belting by. If you go up the road, cars approach that bend, put the brakes on. If you're doing 20 miles an hour, there's no need to brake. But we platitudes and things, and also, and we cyclists are ridiculed because we're the pariahs, and, it's just crazy. I know you've got the 20 mile, I don't agree exactly with 20, I think it's a bit too slow. But if you're going to make it, how can you enforce it? If I go down that road at 20 miles an hour, I'm always tailgated, and people are really impatient, and many times they go around me and down the. I mean, how can you enforce it? What's the point of having these stupid speed limits, and there's no way of doing it, apart from putting a black box in everybody's car? And what's going to happen about the speed bumps on the corner? The MP said it's because it's part of Hounslow, you go around the corner and you're in Hounslow. Now, how is it going to be rectified? My poor friend, whose wife was killed, that was his carer. He suffers from dwarfism. He has been pushed around, mainly by me. And it's over a year, and it hasn't even gone to court. I mean, he's just glossed over. And we keep saying that we live on the bend. And the poor woman who was walking her dog and who survived, she went round the corner a few months ago, and she stood and was petrified. Some clown went round the corner with his tyres squealing. Now, what's these road humps doing? It's nothing. It's absolute tragedy. It's altered my life a lot. Altered all of our lives. Of course it does a tragedy like that. All our grandchildren and everything. And nothing's done about it. Nothing.
Right. Can we say that to do away with the speed bumps?
No,
let me finish.
Sorry,
I'll let you
I
finish.
didn't say that.
Right. The speed bumps are there to slow people down.
They don't.
Well, they do.
They go at 30 miles an hour over the speed bump.
I'm sorry, I use that road regularly.
Well,
I can't get in and out from my house without using it. So I have to use it to get into my and out of my house.
And you don't say that when you're going down at 20 miles an hour, people come up like...
There are people that will break the law. That's something that happens, and we try, you know, it is tried. I mean, the police are here. If they see someone breaking the law, they will enforce it. But they can't be everywhere all the time.
No, that's what I'm saying. What's the point of having that 20-mile limit when you can't enforce it?
Because the alternative is you have no limit and you get it and you're 10 times worse.
But you're saying about that, I would say 70% of the people going down our road are breaking the speed limit.
Well, it's printed on your road. It says 20 mile an hour.
You can't make people do it if they're going to be antisocial. I mean, and at times I've been closely parked by cars, but I mean, what can I do about it?
Sorry, Richard. Probably, I think...
nothing's going to happen there. They're still going to go whizzing around the road, and it's absolute nonsense to say you haven't noticed people speeding.
Which comes under Richmond. So that's what Andy's talking
you're
about.
talking...
Nowhere near us.
Oh, right, sorry. I'm apologising.
In the Scout
That's
Hall.
the trouble is the name of the road.
Near the Scout Hall.
Yeah.
That's the road.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much, sir, for your feedback. As you know, the vast majority of roads...
Oh, sorry, could I just interject? When the firemen and the policemen came along, they said to my wife and our next door neighbour, they shouldn't have experienced what they saw. And they took them a long time to get over what they saw. So it's not just someone just knocking someone over. I can't go into details because there might be people who know or relatives, and they don't want to hear the gory details. But it was extremely distressing, and you seem to gloss over it.
Sorry again.
I'm emotionally involved in that. I'm really angry.
Sorry to hear about that. It's always unfortunate whenever people choose to break the law, and the council is right. They're absolutely breaking the law. The question is, do we need to have enforcement on every road in the council? And there are plenty of hotspots that are known. There are plenty of hotspots across the borough which we know about. And we cannot have enforcement on every road. The vast majority of roads in this country are not enforced. We don't have cameras on them. So we rely on, to an extent, people doing the right thing. So you have a speed limit. Most reasonable folk would respect the speed limit and adhere to it. In terms of the practicality of this particular location, we already have some engineering measures there. So we have some speed humps, which is a traffic calming measure. It's already a 20-mile-per-hour road, which again is a traffic calming measure. The question is, can we do more engineering-wise? The answer is probably not. If you already have a 20-mile-per-hour speed limit, and you already have engineering measures by way of speed humps, that is already quite a reasonable level of measures to ensure that people keep to the speed limit. The next step then is enforcement. That doesn't sit with the council, so enforcement sits with the police. And as you can appreciate, the police have a great deal on their plate already. They have a lot to contend with, they have a lot to deal with, and they have limited resources, just like many parts of the public sector. So can the police enforce every particular road as a known hotspot all the time? Probably not. I don't think they have the resources to do that. So whilst I completely understand your frustration, and I'm happy to pick up this particular location and get my team to look into it, see if there's anything more we can do about it, the reality is there's a limit to what we can do. If you already have engineering measures and you already have a reduced speed limit, there's very little more we can do by way of engineering intervention.
You don't have a camera there, but why, when you put cameras up, when you put cameras up, you put people know they're there. What's wrong with a hidden camera? If people aren't going to obey things, if they see a camera, they slow down, then they speed up. So the only way to get over that problem is not to advertise them. But that's human rights, I suppose.
By law, you have to make sure people are aware. that there's a camera in place. That's why you have signs before you have cameras. That's a matter of law. I can't change that. You may not like it, but that's just the law as it is. And again, it doesn't sit with the council. The installation of enforcement cameras, speed enforcement cameras, is for the police.
Right, I'm moving on to the next questions.
Sorry, can I respond as well, Councillor Foot? Is that all right?
Sorry?
Just to talk about the ward panel, the police ward panel, which is another place we can... Am I all right to answer? Cool. So we also have a police ward panel, which I think I mentioned to you, a couple of you recently. There is one in Hanworth Village, and the dates are going to be circulated soon. But that's another place to sit directly with the police and have that conversation again, because Jefferson's totally right, but I think the more we raise it, the more we put it on people's agendas, make sure they've got the reports about speeding and stuff like that. As a community, that's the kind of thing we would do in other areas as community development as well, working with the police to make sure, as Jefferson says, although they are extremely stretched, we have those conversations, you know, there and then with them to get it on their priority for the local area. So I'll come down to the coffee morning and make sure you guys have got the dates of the police ward panel as well, so we can do that joined up work, if that's okay. All right.
Someone next, yeah. There's a lady there, no.
Talking about speeding. Oh, that's all right. Oh, okay. Talking about the speeding, on this main road, there's a lot of cars that do speed, and where the humps are, they actually dodge them. So they're not driving over the humps. That's quite dangerous for oncoming vehicles, and they just don't care. I think around this area, also where the school is, and on the Winslow Way, there needs to be a camera on the lamppost. We did request this. All the requests that we put earlier on in the year for Winslow Way, all of them were rejected. So we had the camera, because the crime rate has gone up in the area, especially down the road. We had where the circle is near Ridgeway, people hanging around there. It's extremely dark, and they said the lighting has to meet a criteria. But on this main road, there are a lot of speeding cars, and they're dodging the humps. They're not there's cars coming towards you, and they're still dodging them like they're going to crash into you. So around this area, we do need more cameras or a bit more enforcement, because it's getting quite bad. They're speeding, even over the humps, and dodging the humps.
Can I say, I think the cameras in Winslow Way, the cameras in Winslow Way weren't speeding cameras.
No, but
they were community safety cameras,
yeah, that's right.
which is an entirely different setup. It goes to a different office, and there's, the road safety cameras go into an office where the police and Hounslow Council's road services in Chiswick is based, yeah. But they're actually seeing it. The other one is in a different office, I think, in Hounslow.
Yeah, no, I understand that there's two separate issues. There's one for the speeding, okay, and one for the community safety issues, the camera-wise. So we do understand that they are two separate ones. But how can we take this forward to make it happen? Because they're just, all our requests that we put forward are all rejected.
I didn't quite catch that last bit.
Yeah, how can we try and get these implemented? What we're asking for, how can we try and get this implemented? Like, we wanted a camera on the lamppost of the junction of Winslow Way. We want more cameras on the main road here because of the speeding and the offences, you know, not driving over the humps, dodging them. Because we've got the school as well here.
Thank you for your question. In terms of whether people should be fined or serve some kind of punishment for going over the humps, I'm afraid there's nothing one can do to enforce that. The speed humps are designed in such a way that the average vehicle should slow down to be able to go over them. Unfortunately, we've noticed that many cars, there are, especially some of the SUVs, can go through them with relative ease. They still do a job, they still slow people down, people, in many cases, perhaps not as slow as we would want them to. But for the vast majority of cars on the road, they do have an effect. So, but that's not enforceable. There's nothing we can do about somebody not going over a hump or avoiding a hump is not it's not an enforceable offence. It's not even an offence.
That would deter them.
Yeah, there are various. I know, and we do get that request all the time. There are various reasons why the individual homes that you see are preferable, not only for drainage purposes, for cyclists, etc. So there are many reasons why the continuous hump is probably not suitable all the time. In some places, that's the best solution, but not everywhere.
Move on to the next question.
I'd just like to say, where you say that the cars slow down, it prevents, it doesn't. My friend's cat, where a van sped from the bridge down our road past Winslow Way, hit a cat at full speed. The fact that there was a couple of kids going to cross the road, heard the cat get hit, and the bones of the cat, they stepped back or they would have got killed. What they are is they're square pillars, and what people do, they go round. I've even seen police cars do it, not an emergency. It's a joke. They go all round, and many times you nearly get hit head on. I spoke to a surveyor today that said that they're dangerous. They need to, it don't prevent the car slowing down whatsoever. Doesn't.
Sorry, a lot of these questions are definitely better posed for the police. So one of the residents here has got the date of the next ward panel that I was just talking about. Next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, the 10th, at Hanworth Methodist Church. So a little bit further, 4 o'clock. And as I say, I'll bring that down to St Richard's, so if anybody needs a reminder. But I think, honestly, these questions are best placed for the police.
Yeah, I think we really covered it quite well here.
Yeah, just I'm sure this question's been asked many times before, but the state of the slipways on and off the I'm not sure its proper name, M3 feeder road.
Sorry, when you say state, do you mean the cleanliness?
State, yeah, cleanliness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know all about them. I reported some today.
Right. Can I ask a question? Is it the responsibility of TfL or London Borough of Hounslow?
It is TfL. They're TfL roads, but what Hounslow Council can do, we can put pressure on TfL to clean them, and that's what I've done today because of the one by Bear Road, off Bear Road. It's a dreadful state. And I've put that complaint in today through our own transport department, who will pass that on to TfL. I can't guarantee when they do it, because one of the problems with TfL and the A316 is that they have to close the road in order to do that cleaning down there. And I challenge some of it because the steps don't need the road to be cleaned, but other parts do. So I don't know how they program their cleaning, whether they do it in one go and do everything in a section or what, I don't know. But okay. I've reported it today.
Okay, but is it possible to include in the minutes your action and the response from TfL so that people reading the minutes can actually understand what's going on?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch the beginning of that.
Right. In the minutes, is it possible for you as chair to add your action and the response from TfL until the matter is resolved on every single meeting?
It's the type of thing we'd put in the action plan, Councillor. We'll discuss it in a minute. Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
Any other questions?
Hi, I live along Hounslow Road. When it's heavy rain, it ends up like a river. Is there anything anyone can do about it? I mean, it floods. The pavement floods, the roads flood. It's impassable.
Whereabouts in Hounslow Road?
Hounslow Road. Well, from Winslow to the bridge, it's impassable when it's heavy rain. So people have to put out pallets across the pavement so they can get across.
Oh, not in the road. You're talking about the side roads or what?
I'm talking about the pavement.
The pavement?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about, you said
no,
the road.
The pavement.
Okay, no, the
pavement.
pavement.
You can't get along. It's absolutely impassable.
Okay, now I'll go into...
it's not within my department. I'm not responsible for road maintenance, but I can pass that on to my colleagues in maintenance.
Did you catch that? Sorry?
I can show you a picture of it.
No, it doesn't. No, what my colleague said is not his department, but he's pick up your complaint and he will pass it on to the department that owns it.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is that all of the questions? Right. Well, yeah. Okay. You've had one. Yeah. Can I? Because I'm trying to manage it all. There's a lady there that's not had an opportunity to ask the question, so we're running out of time, I'm afraid.
My question is, I live on Mono Lane on Victoria.
I'm sorry, people are talking down there and we're having difficulty hearing the young lady speak. So if you could, just give her an opportunity.
Oh, thank you. I live on Mono Lane off Victoria Road, and it used to be a one-way road that used to go the other way, but now they've changed it to make it one-way going towards the High Street. So there's like 8 car parks on that road, and everybody has to go towards the High Street and then turn left and go all the way around the pond because they can't turn right at the end of the Victoria Road to access the A312. So now we're having to go down the High Street, back down Browers Lane, and then back past the leisure centre, and then get onto the bridge from the other side to access the A312. And I don't understand why they've done that. My second question is that during the pandemic, I was told by the councillor that they would widen the pavements so there'd be more room for pedestrians because there's 2 schools on that road. They've widened the pedestrians, but they've made the actual road so narrow that fire engines and garbage trucks and things can't get down them. They've all mounted the curb, and now all the curbs are destroyed, and that pavement and all that was done like less than 3 years ago. And then obviously the council knew that they were going to build a new development at the top of Victoria Road. So now all the trucks and everything are going down Mono Lane Victoria Road, and they can't get down the road because the road is too narrow. So they've destroyed all the paving slabs and the curb because they're parking on them. And you knew that you were going to build a development on the corner for more than 3 years ago, I'm sure. So what was the point of changing the road, making it one way the wrong way, widening the pavement, and then destroying it all within 3 years?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. Thank you. And when 3 years ago I was not a councillor, but no, but the one when they let me answer this question. When they converted to the one-way system, they concerned it with resident because there is 2 schools on the road, and they reduced the speed limit, and it's a one-way system. But they concerned with, if you really want to look into this issue again, residents have to submit the consultation, like if they raise their concerns. Yep. It's an online petition or consultation.
When you came knocking on my door during the last local elections, I said to you, can you provide me the information of how many people consulted and how many people responded? I never heard back from you. And you and Vishnu were at my door canvassing for my vote.
Yeah, I still remembered. And last time, when I discussed with Councillor Gurung, he said at that time, they consulted with residents. We don't have any data how many residents responded. But
then how did you make the decision if you don't have the data on how many people consulted?
But I will ask the department, and I will update you.
So now you're going to update me?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
when will you update me? What's the time scale on this?
Well, there's around 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, officers usually respond.
Okay, so shall we say the last Friday of October you will email me with an update?
When?
the last Friday in October?
No, I
I
not received
think the
any.
councillors-
I
In
not
2-3
received any.
weeks.
Look, the councillor's dependent upon the officer
Yeah,
answering her.
it depends
She's not
on
all
officers.
in her
When I
hands.
get response, I will
So-
update you. But it's, and also send me a fresh new email and explain it in the email.
Okay, I'm not going to send you a
Does the councillor have your
Or any
contact
previous
details?
emails, just forward it to me because I have no track
And
of
I've also emailed Bishnu
Have-
about it
sorry,
on several
have-
occasions.
Have you issued them to the councillor, your contact
Yes,
details?
I have.
No, I not received any email.
But you and Bishnu work together, right? Bishnu
No,
hasn't.
they're independent, they're separate councillors, they don't, you have casework, but it's separate casework. My casework is not shared there or
Yeah.
across, it's the
Okay, so
casework
who's
you're personally
responsible for that part of the ward?
I don't have received any email regarding this issue. If you can forward me any previous emails or I will ask this for you.
Okay, so are you going to fix the pavements again after that building at the end of
Right,
Victoria
can
Road
I
has been
suggest
built?
that you pass your comments on to the councillor and then she can respond? You can't ask her to respond before she's got your details coming in writing. So let's see what it all is. I'm sorry, look, no, we've covered that point and you've spoken, no, we've covered that point and you've spoken before. So let's move on to any more questions.
Chair, with permission, I can address the lady's question if you want.
I'm sorry?
With permission, I can address the lady's question about Mono Lane.
Yeah, okay, right, sorry, hang on a second, yeah.
Firstly, thank you for your feedback. Firstly, in terms of the direction of the one-way, I'm not sure what evidence you're relying on to say that it's being directed the wrong way, but yeah. That obviously is deliberate. It doesn't just happen by chance.
No.
Engineers. I can assure you this is not the work of a sadist or something. Somebody has looked at that, and there are very cogent reasons why it's been designed in that way. I appreciate it might create some inconvenience, but there's actually some science behind it. So that is the one-way issue. In relation to the footway width, as you can imagine, there's a limit to what the council, the space, the carriageway width, to be that in terms of both carriageway and footway. And the choice always has to be made whether you prioritize, such as a place like Mono Lane, where the weight is not significant. You have to make a choice whether you prioritize carriageway or you prioritize footway. In this case, we have taken the view that actually, given the number of schools in that area, given the footfall in the area, you probably need to prioritize the pedestrians, hence you have a wider footway. I'm afraid the consequence of that is you have a narrower carriageway. Now, when all these schemes are designed, ambulances, the blue lights, they are called statutory consultees, so we have to consult them whenever we make any such changes to the highway. And their feedback is taken on board. If they have serious concerns about safety or passability, then we'll have to review our designs. In this case, for the scheme to have gone ahead, we suggest that perhaps they didn't raise any major concerns.
So you've done that, and there's 2 schools, and you've widened the footpaths, but there's no safe place for people to cross. They dart across the road all the time. So if you were going to do all that, wouldn't you have put in a safe place for people to cross the road along that road?
If you are saying that the carriageway is very narrow, which appears to be what you are saying, then it would appear that it would be very odd to then have an additional crossing point on a road that's already quite narrow. So to go from one end of it to the other is quite a short distance.
No, but my point is that you have widened the footpaths, but people still walk on the road anyway. So
we can't control that. We don't.
So we can't win either way. So my point is, like, the footpaths are now destroyed because of all the big trucks and everything going up them and mounting the curb and parking on the footpaths because of the development that's been built on the corner, because they can't park on the curb or next to the curb because they'll take up the road space. So they're actually parking on the footpath and destroying the footpath. So when all that building work is done, are those footpaths going to be repaired?
I cannot say that for certain, but I would hope that our planning colleagues who would have given permission for the construction, for the work to take place, will have taken that into account, and that's part of their construction logistics plan. So I can't say that for sure. I didn't negotiate the planning agreement or the conditions of planning, but that's something we can look into. If they have obviously caused damage to council property, then we would expect them to make good. But I cannot say that for certain. I'm not party to those discussions.
More wasting our money then?
I don't think that's fair, that comment. No, it's not fair. Can we go on to the next?
Hi, sorry. My question might come across as silly, and hopefully you'll tell me there's no such thing as a silly question. Mine's more about the process for these forums. So this is the first time I've got the opportunity to join, and I wondered how you guys advertise such a forum, because we've got a lot of great community groups on Facebook, and I was just wondering how you utilise them, and if you do. So I know that this might have been advertised, for example, on the council website, but is it being pushed to the community utilising those groups? Like I see one group's got 30,000 people in, for example. So for me, communication's key when exercised correctly, isn't it? So when I was younger, you'd always get information pushed through a resident's door, and since... Yeah. Sorry.
Let her finish.
Okay, brilliant.
Hello. So, as you may know, you guys that don't know me, I'm Emily. I'm the Community Development Officer. I help facilitate these forums with the councillors in Hanworth. So this is the second forum in Hanworth, and promotion has been a little bit difficult for this one. We did have a venue change, so and that was through no fault of our own. So yes, we do try and get it out on Facebook. One of the things that I struggle with is that I sometimes get blocked posting things, because there's a lot of stipulations to being allowed to post on, like, Friends of Feltham, or, you know, when I was at St Richard's the other day, I was saying, what is the Hanworth Facebook group? Yeah. You know, which of the ones should I be on? And they don't want a promotion, they don't want a council leaflet, stuff like that. I know sometimes that can be a barrier. So every time I come to a forum, I'll say, you know, what are the best ways to get it out to you guys? What do you want? Do you want a flyer in your door? Do you want it on Facebook? Do you want a WhatsApp? You know, do you want me to pop down to your coffee morning? What is it? You know, the councillors help me get the flyers out as well. We take it to businesses. So yeah, this is a work in progress, and this one, I will admit, wasn't fantastically promoted, and I really appreciate all of you that came through speaking to me and the councillors. But yeah, any advice, support on how to get into those spaces and places where we can really get it out to the residents that, you know, want to have these conversations would be amazing.
Excellent. So maybe I could tag up with you
definitely
afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm calling that the end of the discussion period now. We've got time to move on. So I really need to now call on. Can I thank everybody that's made a contribution, and I hope that all of our members will eventually, if they haven't responded, will respond to you, so you'll get some feedback on it. Sorry. Yeah, and thanks to Jefferson, who I didn't even realise was actually here until he was called from out of your depths. So thank you, Jefferson. You've done a sterling job, as I've experienced from past times that you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to our residents for very important questions. I hope we've at least gone some way to address some of the points that they've raised. Thank you very much for your time.
Right, can I now move on to the agenda, to the action plan? Right, the action plan for Hanworth Village. This action plan outlines points raised by the community and office and councillors at area forums that will be noted for action from teams and officers. The community have asked for more accountability from their councillors, and the action plan is a good way of ensuring issues brought at area forums are reviewed and not lost. This document is a work in progress that allows us to track updates and give responses to the community before the next forum arrives, where possible. This is being trialled in other forums, and similar projects-based action plan have been successful in Isworth. The action plan encourages ward councillors for that area to highlight and report back points from their wards and have a full involvement of awareness of matters. So if you've got problems, if you feed them through to your councillor, then that's how we start getting those problems put into the web. If the community wanted to upgoing updates regarding action plan points, you can speak to Chair, myself, or Vice Chair, Councillor Bishnu. The Bear and Swan Road update from our last meeting. Following the COVID ward walk, there was a request from community members and councillors for improvements to the estates in Hanworth and updates on progress and plans. Bear and Swan Road were first to be looked at. This included the precinct, the Swan Road shops, Bear Road Park, also known as Winslow Recreation Ground, and the parking and crossing issues next to the shops. Several site visits have taken place across the teams involved, and there was a ward walk visit with the Community Safety and Property Projects late 2022. Due to the changes in the Housing and Property Projects team, this has recently been picked up again. So far, since summer 2023, property projects have costed improvements to the precinct outside Swan Road shops. These are conversions with traffic around. It would be feasible to change the crossing next. There are conversions with traffic around. It would be feasible to change the crossing next to the shops and how much it would cost. There's been a conversation with Highways around replacing the bollards to prevent cars parking on the pavement. Requests for an update on the parking enforcement. Parks are costing improvements to Bear Road Park play area and considering tree planting options. I'm now going to ask my colleague, Councillor Karam, for a report for the Hanworth Village, Hanworth Park.
Thank you, Chair. As Councillor Foot already explained about the action plan, I would like to give an update on Muller Roundabout. Muller Roundabout was raised at the September 2022 area forum by local residents, and since then we have created an internal multi-agency working group of teams, including highways, traffic, community safety, community development, and ward improvement. Had 5 site visits with relevant teams and 1 site visit with TFL, and we ward councillors were present at all the site visits. In conversation with TFL and highway around long-term solution to graffiti and speeding and signage and crossing, and more update from the TFL is regarding, most recent is in August, which is regarding the signage. A request has been raised by our traffic order team to amend the speed limit and signage on the A316 exit off slip to gradually reduce the speed, as well as providing a 30 miles per hour sign at the start of the Sunbury Slip Road. And subject to review by our compliance, policing, and operation and security directorates, these changes are scheduled to be implemented this autumn. And then second is about crossing, and subject to funding and being accepted on our delivery program as a safety scheme. We will also look to install a zebra crossing at this location to make it safer for people walking and cycling in the area. I don't have a timeline for the delivery, but will keep you updated as and when I get more information. Councillors and council officers will continue to work together to encourage TFL to take action in this space. Thank you.
Right, moving on now to any other urgent business. Sorry, you're there.
Can I
you're walking around all the time.
I'm a busy lady.
Trying to keep up with you.
Just to sort of, is it working? Just to sort of wrap that up and give a little bit more context. So a lot of the things that were raised today are things that, you know, as a team, you know, with the councillors, we aim to meet, you know, 2 weeks after the forum and meet regularly to discuss the things that have come up in the meeting, the things that have come up in minutes. You know, this is just an introduction, and that's why you're only seeing 1 point. But, you know, things like a lot of the traffic things that have come up today would be things that would potentially go on to the action plan, so that you are able to get those responses and we can give you the reality of what's going on behind the scenes. You know, when we're saying, yes, we're doing things, yes, things are happening, but you can't see that and you don't know, you know, the people that are involved and this, that, the other, just to give a bit more clarity and you know, transparency, same word, to what's going on really with the services and the councillors involved. So yeah, look out for the next action plan at the next forum and you might see some of your issues on there. Some of them might be quick wins, so we can answer you before then and they won't need to go on there. Some of them might be that we put you in touch with the team. Some of them, like Muller Roundabout, for example, that's why we've highlighted it came up in 2022 and that, you know, the residents in Hanworth were fighting a lot longer before that. It's a long-term project and some of the things that have been raised today will be. So yeah, you'll see them on the action plan moving forward, hopefully. But yeah, just to wrap that up.
Right, can I just say the date of the next meeting is scheduled for the 20th of December. We haven't yet fixed a venue. One of our reasons for that is that Hanworth Village, as I'm sure many of you realise, spreads on quite a wide range either side of the motorway. So we want to try and make sure we reach as many people as we can. At the moment, we're considering whether or not the next meeting would be held on Butts Farm, because we've been this side and south of the road and just on the road. So we're looking at Butts Farm, but we haven't actually made a decision yet where the next venue will be. But it will be the 20th of December, so you can bring your holly along and we can wish you all happy Christmas. Anyway, thank you very much for your attendance, and I appreciate all the comments made by everyone, and I'm sure that they're being taken heed of. She's waving at me again.
Sorry, Councillor. Just to say, we've actually got a lovely little incentive for you. If you do some feedback for us, and that's good, bad or ugly, we're happy to hear it all. You can be entered into a prize draw for £20 Love to Shop vouchers. So please do some feedback for us, and we can also email it to you if you'd prefer. Yeah, but do the form if not. Thank you.
So don't say we don't give stuff away free. We do. Right, thank you very much.